Trials of Osiris. It's back. Again, sort of. Bungie revamped Trials for Season of the Lost in hopes of making it, playable for a much larger crowd. They revamped loot, matchmaking, the wins-losses situation, even some in-game parts of Trials. If you already know what they did, you can skip the time on screen to get my perspective. In Trials itself, rounds are now 90 seconds, you no longer have special ammo carry over in between rounds, and things that allowed you to get into a third-person perspective like emoting or using a sword without ammo no longer work. Trials now has matchmaking, so you can queue in as a solo player or as a group of 2 or 3. Freelance Trials is not a thing just yet, sort of, but we're going to cover that topic in detail later in the show. Trials cards have been revamped as well to encourage people to keep playing even if they aren't flawless. Losses are gone from cards, although the flawless marker remains, so you're either flawless or you're not flawless. They track round wins up to 20. You don't really need to reset a card anymore. In fact, it's incentivized to not reset because winning with 7 wins on your card gives you more loot like shards, prisms, trials engrams, and if you're flawless with 7 wins, winning those games will get you even more loot like additional adept weapon drops. There are also 2 Pinnacle Rewards, winning 50 rounds and winning 7 matches. Trials now has a reputation track like Crucible, Gambit, Strikes, getting you a Trials engram every rank up along with some other rewards along the track. You can either decrypt Trials engrams like normal at Rahul, or you can focus them at Saint to just spam one item that you might want, although it does cost 100 legendary shards to do so and a lot of Glimmer. You can also focus the Adept Weapon of the Week, but that's going to be even more expensive. All of this combined with the increased security in the form of BattleEye anti-cheat and the potential banning over win trading and account sharing has made for what can only be described as a very inspiring shift for Trials that I still will probably completely ignore, and I'll go over why later in the video, with the reason having nothing to do with the revamp itself. So before I talk about my experience, I just want to quickly discuss what kind of Trials player I am. I got my fair share of flawlesses in Destiny 1, got a few in Destiny 2. I have a good amount of playing time in Trials, playing with a group. I didn't have much desire to play Trials before the revamp because I didn't want to deal with account sharers, hackers, cheaters, and honestly, the vast amount of players who would have downright completely destroyed me otherwise. I didn't really feel like having my heart broken in that way, and even then I'd still be losing early in my cards. Also, with the improvements to loot that we've gotten over the course of several seasons, I can essentially ignore Trials loot because there's so much stuff everywhere else. I went into Trials day 1 as a solo, just to see what it's like, and it took me about 2.5 hours to hit 7 wins as a solo queue. I think my record against 3 stacks was maybe 2-5, 2-6, maybe even 2-7. When you're a solo player, you're at the mercy of matchmaking. For me personally, just me, knowing that I have people to play with who are a billion times better than me, who could probably just carry me, this method of queuing, it's not for me. It's not designed for people like me. It's not designed for people who already have groups of people to play with. There is almost no point in me personally solo queuing other than if I just want to gamble on matchmaking or if there's really no one else to play with. For others who do not have access to playing with other good players or other players at all, this is great to get them into the Trials experience. The ideal situation is to have some group of randoms all find each other, kick some ass, and then form a party of their own. Some sort of stay as group feature like Overwatch has. Do they still have that, right? Do they still have that? That would be nice for Destiny. Any tools to enhance communication when playing with other solos would be nice as well. Ping system like Apex has, because let's face it, people still aren't using voice in Destiny. They're not using voice chat. I've been hearing a lot about how people are getting their first flawless runs, and that's awesome, and it's really encouraging for those players because maybe they'll keep playing and keep the playlist populated which would be really healthy for trials. Now, I'm not here to crap on people's first flawless runs, but I imagine a lot of firsts are coming out because of a massive population and because 3 stacks are matching said solo and duo queuers. Having a 3 stack in team chat versus 3 solos already puts you at a massive advantage over that group. If you're a solid team, you're probably steamrolling your way to multiple flawless runs right now. I've also seen a lot of mentions about people just queue dodging. They'll queue as a stack of 3 and monitor the queue in a way that enables them to fight as few other 3 stacks as possible and maximize the amount of solos or duos they play against because it's a huge advantage. I've seen hiding the number of people in the queue as a suggested method to get rid of such behavior, and I would be totally fine with that. My personal experience, can't emphasize that enough, my experience as a solo queuer essentially told me that unless I am good enough to solo carry a team to victory, that my win rate is likely to be around 35% or less. Spoilers, I am not capable of solo carrying a team to victory with that much frequency. My win rate against groups was at best 40% and at worst 25%. And let's say win rates when teams are quote unquote balanced are 50%. I personally don't want to drop into an activity where I'm going to lose more than I'm going to win, regardless of the loot situation, because I can get good loot everywhere else. That is not why I personally enjoy PvP-based experiences. If I want to go try to frag out somewhere, I'm going to hop into Control. Now, did I have the expectation that I'd be able to solo my way to flawless first try or any try? Absolutely not. You need to be insanely good or insanely lucky with matchmaking to make that happen. But as a solo player, you need to accept that you will likely lose more than you win depending on your skill level. You should have zero expectations for going flawless, and know that solo queuing is not really the way Trials is meant to be played. It's meant to be played with 2 other people in your group, in voice comms, communicating to win. That's how it's been, that's how it's gonna be. I think solo queue and duo queue is nice for the game to have either way, but you really need to keep your expectations in check based on your skill level. I'm going to be keeping tabs on that freelance mode Crucible Labs experiment that's going to release during the season. There's a big difference at being at the mercy of matchmaking when it comes to this current version of Trials and being at the mercy of matchmaking in something like freelance. In freelance, the teams are balanced. It's all solos. Everyone's in the same conditions. Everyone has to deal with potential teammates who are really bad, really good, don't know what they're doing, not paying attention, playing weird loadouts, whatever. In non-freelance, you're at the mercy of all of that and also the mercy of whether or not you're going to fight a 3-stack. It feels worse matching those 3 stacks. There's no situation as a solo player where I want to face a 3-stack. Even just seeing that you're fighting a 3-stack can cause a negative mental effect, which can carry into the game. Freelance, you don't have that. It doesn't feel as bad losing in freelance versus a 3-stack because matchmaking is random to everyone. It feels easier to swallow a 5-0 beatdown in freelance versus against a 3-stack because at least in freelance, you know there's a chance you could be on the other side of it the next game. However, splitting the Trials population into 2 different lists can have brutally negative population-based results. So I understand the extreme caution there, especially with population counts likely declining week over week. Freelance will be coming later in the season as a test weekend, but I have a pretty strong feeling that it will never actually come to fruition as splitting the player base in that way. It's just probably not going to end well. And again, I don't think Trials is really meant to be a solo queue experience. Anyway, moving on from that, I buddied up with some friends and we went for a flawless run and we got it first try. Our first 2 games were absolutely brutal, but games 3 through 7 were a stomp, and that's also what I've been hearing from many other players. Not really sure what's up with that, but just be ready for it. People are theorizing that there's some heavier skill-based matchmaking going on in the first couple of games and then it evens out or something like that. I have no idea. But otherwise, it's still the Trials that I remember from the good old days. No hacking, cheating, account sharing, win trading. It feels good. And I'm stoked for all the people who have been getting their first flawless. It's really fun to experience that. but I don't have a lot more to say other than what I just said. Meta-wise, Shatter Dive is back to a degree, so that's really fun and not annoying. And I noticed a lot of Arc Soul Warlock action. Also, just a lot of Warlocks sitting in Rifts. Also, it's just a lot of people sitting in Rifts. It's a lot of Rifts. So yeah, not the most thrilling stuff, but it's certainly been worse, that's for sure. I've seen a pretty wide range of weaponry as well. Shotguns, still being dominant, but that's not really a surprise to anybody. The special ammo changes are great, although I'm personally not the biggest fan of people getting their special ammo back when they are revived after being killed. That's maybe just me. The loot situation is also really good. Materials are raining from the sky. People getting trials engrams like crazy. I've had people ask me if it's too rewarding. I'm not going to say that it is right now, mainly because I'd prefer to have a little more experience under my belt. I only played about 5 hours. But even if it is too rewarding, it's the first time in a long time that Trials feels pretty good, and I would say let it ride for the time being. Also, imagine the community's response to Bungie nerfing the amount of rewards to Trials right now. Come on, man. So, in all, the Trials revamp is very good for the game. So many people are enjoying themselves, and that's really good. That's what it's all about. Now, I don't want this conclusion to turn into woe is me garbage, but that being said, I do just want to mention this for the people who might be coming to my streams asking, hey, why aren't you playing Trials? Or might wonder why I don't give any Trials-based content a shot on the channel. The reason why I personally will probably continue to pass on Trials unless I get really good, really quick, is because I am not at the skill level that I would want to be to enjoy the parts of Trials I want to enjoy. Pub stomping to 7 wins and getting some flawless loot, it doesn't really do a whole lot for me anymore. Stomping people 5-0 is fun for a couple of games, maybe a 5-1, 5-2 in there. And then it's just kind of not. It's kind of boring. But the problem for me is that in the games that I would want to be more competitive, the post-flawless games or the Game 7 flawless on the line games from the past, I can't win those. I'm not good enough. And I never really have been to win those games. I've never been good enough to win those games or even have them be close. And those are the games that I want to be winning, or at least have them be competitive matches. And they're just not at all. I get my ass whooped, and I learn nothing from it other than I should really put the sniper down and break out a coloring book, or drop a 50-pound weight on the W key with a shotgun out. I just feel like most of the time I'm the one ending up letting my team down. I'm not trying to make this seem like, oh, my teammates are so bad, because they're not. They're not bad. I'm the bad. But I also just don't want to be carried to wins with 2 god-tier players either, because I get nothing out of that. There's no fun in that for me. When I play Trials, I'm playing for the love of winning. I don't care about the loot. I don't care about the materials. I can get all that crap playing GM Nightfalls with my dog on the mouse and me on the keyboard. I'm playing Trials for dubs. And no amount of bonus loot is gonna make me not crap at the games that I wanna be winning. It is literally a problem of Datto needs to get good. And it's a problem that I've endured for years now. I'm bad at PvP because I don't play it, and I don't play it because I'm bad at it. It's as simple as that. It has nothing to do with the revamp, the mode itself, meta, anything like that. I'm just not at the level that I want to be at, and I don't really have the time or the patience to practice more. Without that practice, I will be stuck where I am, and I have accepted that. Trust me, guys, I know people aren't tuning into my stream or my videos to watch me try to frag out in Trials. I'm well aware. But the times where I would like to try to do so, I'm not capable. It makes me mad. That makes me play worse, which makes for really bad content. And then I just feel really bad that the content that I'm making is really bad, and that makes me feel even worse. And it's just a vicious cycle all the way down. This first weekend had a huge population, and I really want to see how Trials feels after 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. What does it look like when the season story content is over and people are just waiting for the next thing? Those will be the trials of Osiris. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.